Me too.
We got it. We'll get it to you. Take that chair back.
I'll let you drive.
Ma'am, I don't know how much power you're going to be using. These are plugged in. There's a lot of cord equipment already plugged in.
I'm not pulling very much at all.
Okay, if it throws that breaker,
That's
we'll
fine.
have to shut you down.
That's fine. No
Okay.
problem. He said that there's a lot of power being pulled on that extension, that strip, and if I pull the brake, if I pick the breaker, they'll have to unplug it. So I said fine.
Good morning.
Sure. How are you, bud?
Good, sir. You?
Good.
Good morning. No, you're fine. I don't think it'll be in my way. I can shift a little bit if I have to.
It's okay.
Turn your phone on. Turn your phone on.
That's gravel. I can't get you on this.
I don't think. Is that okay?
We can tape it down more if necessary.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. We're not supposed to have anything running up through here. If you want to use this, you're gonna have to get it.
So we can tape it down way more. Is that, yeah. Okay.
I think the big concern is that big bulk
Uh-huh.
needs to be a solid board and take down flush because we're worried about people tripping coming back through there.
Well, we don't, you're going to have to really tape it down.
Over it.
And I've got another roll. tape on that one. Herb.
This is going to be interesting. See?
Thank you. Herb, just for sake measure, do that white strip that's there, please.
Oh. I hope so.
You're going to have to get down there.
First thing I'm going to have to do is speak.
Yes. Just have initially get that filled out.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to
cold out there this morning. Ooh.
It's got a bite to it.
I'm also taping to my camera, so we'll have to tape back up. Who is the attorney?
be recorded. Raise our hands. DCC. On the road.
On the road.
Must be a big deal.
It is for county. I guess in the Almighty's grand plan for the universe, it's not too big a deal. As much of the rest of us here is.
What?
Sorry, folks. Today is Monday, March 24th. I'm going to call the meeting to order at this point at approximately 9:35 a.m. This is a special meeting of the Madison County Board of Elections. We are calling this meeting pursuant to Article 11B, Chapter 163 of the North Carolina General Statutes. The purpose of this hearing today is to hear a petition challenging the candidacy of a candidate for election. This meeting is open, subject to open meeting laws of the state of North Carolina. At this time, we need to appoint someone to take minutes for the board. Our elections director is in Raleigh at training. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to hear Wes Mallers take the minutes.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, at this time, I would like to recognize our court reporter who is here today for purposes of this meeting. If you could, if you're speaking, speak clearly and loudly so she can hear you. And also ask that everyone in attendance please be quiet. If you have cell phones, please turn them off. All right, well, if you could just make sure you transpose everything that we're talking about today. All right, this time we're going to get to the main purpose of the meeting, specifically the petition for challenging candidacy of C. John Ledford for Sheriff of Madison County. Filed by the challengers, Cindy Herman, Keith Ortman, and Timothy Malone. What I have here is Exhibit 1, Board Exhibit 1, which I will hand to the court reporter at this point. Mr. Smithers. Please enter that into evidence as Board Exhibit 1, please. All right, also at this time, pursuant to Article 11, the board has given notice of hearing for parties involved in this. Attached, I have Board Exhibit number 2, the certificate of service. We could present that evidence as Board Exhibit number 2. I will go down the list of names that are attached to that exhibit to see if they are present. If they are, just please raise your hand or say present so we can get that on the record. John Ledford.
He is there, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Keith Ortman. Does not appear to be present. Cindy Herman. Thank you, ma'am. Timothy Malone. James Harwood. Michael Cahagan. Sir, please correct me if I'm wrong here. David Wickrama.
Weejayward Rama, sir.
Weejayward Rama.
I'm present.
Sorry about that, sir.
That's good.
I'll try to get that there. Matthew Wackel. And David Wyatt. Thank you, sir. All right. At this time, since the filing of the original petition, this board has become aware the challengers have raised the issue of whether two members of this board, namely myself and Mr. Jerry Wallen, can provide these parties with a fair and impartial hearing. This board is in possession of a letter dated March 10th, 2014, addressed to the Council for the North Carolina State Board of Elections. I do have that letter here with me. Sir, can you verify for me that this is the same letter that you gave us?
Approach.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you, sir. At this time, we will enter this as Board Exhibit number 3. All right, a special meeting of the Madison County Board of Elections was held on March 14th, 2018. Council can challenge was present at that meeting. Hills for Knight versus Hicks. This time we would like to deal with that conflict of interest that has risen. Since the motion does involve myself and Mr. Vaughn, I'm going to recuse myself from being chair for the moment and turn it over to Wes Matters.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson. At this time, the chair will recognize David Wickerman to verify that the motion to recuse is not directed at myself, White Smith, member of the board.
I would verify that as being correct.
Then, would you please verify for the board that in this letter, March the 14th, that you desire to have the board consider this issue raised in this letter that has been placed in the record on motion to recuse two board members?
That is correct.
Are you prepared to proceed with this motion to recuse? And if so, do you have evidence that you wish to present to this board?
I do. And I am.
You wish to call Mr. Wallen or Mr. Gibson as witnesses?
I do.
They will need to be sworn and placed under oath. And I think that's your job.
All you can for the record of the family, you place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the testimony you should give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
This time, Mr. Wickerman, you may present evidence, and at some point in time, we'll allow Mr. Lee to cross-examine the witnesses if he wishes.
Yes, sir.
And board members may ask questions along with that.
Yes, sir. If I may be permitted to do so, I'd like to examine Mr. Gibson first.
It's fine.
I'll direct all my questions to him until I'm concluded, and then proceed to Mr. Wall if that's acceptable.
That'd be fine.
Mr. Gibson, Mr. Ledford will be testifying at this hearing today, and I wanted to ask you how long you've known Mr. Ledford.
Sir, probably most of my life. He was a couple of grades ahead of me.
How would you describe your relationship with him?
Well, sir, he was a couple of grades ahead of me. Most of the older folks did not pay attention to that show that goes to school. That's the way I remember it.
In the past several years, have you gotten a chance to know Mr. Ledford since you got out of school?
Sir, I've probably seen Mr. Ledford 3 times in the past decade. When they both been in trouble sporting events, and I saw him one time driving in Burger Hill driving by a police car. That'd be the extent of that. I work in Nashville, he's been working in Raleigh. Our paths have not crossed.
What have you done for employment the past 10 years, sir?
A couple of various different things, sir. I have 3 different jobs, actually. This is one of my part-time jobs. I've been doing this since approximately 1994 in various capacities. I've been on board the past couple of years. I enjoyed that. Sometimes it's interesting to say the least. My father runs a sales marketing company. I do assist him. We've been doing this since approximately 1985. The past 25 years I've been working in human services in various executive and administrative capacities. Now, in addition to that, I'm assuming you're talking about paperwork.
That's fine. When you say you've seen Mr. Ledford 3 times in the past 10 years, you would say then he was an acquaintance, someone you recognize, friend. How would you describe your relationship with him?
Sir, I would say probably acquaintance.
Have you had any postings of Mr. Ledford on your Facebook or any other form of social media in the past 2 years?
In the past 2 years, sir?
Yes.
What do you mean by postings? Can you clarify that, please?
On your Facebook page, have you had any postings involving Mr. John Ledford in the past 2 years?
Sir, I like his Facebook page. It's not
I'm sorry,
so
I'm sorry.
Okay. Sir, I like his Facebook page. being involved in the community, I like to receive information from the community. I've lived here for 41 years.
How many years did you say you worked on the Board of Elections here in Madison County?
Sir, I've been doing election work here since approximately 1994. Started as an election assistant, then a judge, and done whatever I did for voters in this county. So I've been on the board for the past couple of years.
You had a chance to review the North Carolina general statutes requiring board members' conduct in the past couple of years?
I certainly have, sir. I'm fully cognizant of that statute, and I've made no public statement for general public distribution in regards to any identified candidate. And I can say that with 100% certainty.
Are you aware of statute 163-39, the limitations on political activity, which states, and if I may, to the board and to both council, I have provided a copy of the binders that I am reviewing in front of me. Each board member has one. Mr. Laws has one under his portfolio, and there's one sitting right there. And right now, I have turned to the section called Board of Elections Member Challenges. I have gone to the back where the statutes are located. And I'm referring to statute 163-39. There should be a applicable highlighted portion there.
Give us just a moment.
I apologize, I should tell you over there.
It looks like
We're all on the same page.
it was before.
163-39 states limitations on political activities by board members. It says no individual subject to this article shall make any written or oral statement intended for general distribution or dissemination to the public at large supporting or opposing the nomination of the election of one or more clearly identified candidates for public office. Would you say that you did post a like of Mr. Ledford on your Facebook?
Sir, I liked his page where I had access to it. And as I said, I did the same thing with the current sheriff.
Regardless of the fact that you did it to both, it's still a violation of statute, right?
No, sir, it's not. It's not a written or oral statement for general public distribution. And it also refers to identified candidates.
Okay.
Sir, to reiterate my statement, being the likes on his Facebook page in order to receive information from them. I certainly like the current sheriff's page because I want information from my county sheriff. But I do not think that anyone could construe that as a general statement for general public distribution.
Well, that'll be for the North Carolina Board of Elections in Raleigh to decide. I'm just here to question you. Have you taken part in any other social activities with Mr. Ledford in the past 2 years, other than
No, sir, I have not.
May I have a motion, please? Have you ever been the subject of a criminal investigation in the past 90 days by the current sheriff of Madison County?
Yes, sir, the conversation lasted 10 minutes.
Do you know what that subject matter of investigation is for?
Yes, sir, I'm in my career, so that it was very professional misconduct. I had no issue with him at all.
I asked if you knew what the subject matter was.
Yes, sir, I did.
What was the subject matter about?
It was an assistance call that admitted an hour after someone left my house.
Have you had any criminal charges filed against you in the past 10 years?
Past 10 years? No, sir.
Have you had any criminal convictions in the past 10 years?
No, sir.
Have you ever been charged with a crime involving an act of fraud or dishonesty?
Sir, I wrote 2 bad checks in 2001 when I signed for $11 forms for $13. I paid both of those. I believe that was in 2001. It's a while back.
That would conclude my questions to this board members.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Vijay Wickrama. Ms. Lee, do you have any cross-examination questions for Mr. Gibson in regard to his duty on this board in this matter?
Briefly, please.
Yes.
Mr. Gibson, you understand that all the council is seeking is a fair hearing for he and his clients.
100%, sir.
And you understand that I likewise, for my client,
Yes, sir, I do understand that.
am seeking a fair hearing. We lawyers, when examining jurors, and you're in a row as a fact finder here, and we hear one lawyer question the integrity of a juror or questions that appear to be going that way, gives us some concern that might cause a tendency to say, oh my goodness, I've got to lean a little that way or I'm going to get critiqued. You don't have any tendency to do that, sir?
No, sir, given the nature of my work over the past 2.5 decades, I've been involved in various different matters. I understand how the legal process works, how attorneys work. Y'all just do your due diligence for your clients. I don't know any partial one way or the other.
You want to call it victory on what you hear here today?
That's my job, sir. What I get paid to do. Further, Mr. Lee, when I started doing this back in 1994, I made a commitment to the citizens of the county, uphold the Constitution of the state of North Carolina, and the general statutes that we operate under. Never in my 41 years in this county has my credibility been questioned. I'm always very impartial.
Now, is this your third term on the board?
I believe so. It seems like that's 12, but I think it's the third.
And as I recollect from my days as chair of the State Board of Election, the first 2 times you were appointed, you were recommended by the Madison County Republican Party
Yes, sir, that's correct.
and by the chairman of the North Carolina Republican Party on both occasions.
That would be my assumption, sir. I believe that's how it works.
In fact, you were one of 3 names submitted, and you were the top name each time.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Now, of course, as you say, we live in a small county and living here together, we pretty quickly learn each other's politics.
That's correct, sir.
And your politics and my politics differ.
That is true, sir.
you and I may have differed at some point in our lives, may have had heated words at some point in our lives. Is any of that going to bleed over to Mr. Lecter?
No, sir, not at all. I would say most of our words have probably been surrounding softball.
Well, as long as I was winning, it wouldn't be hard.
Well, I don't know what to.
Mr. Sanders, I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. Does any member of the board wish to ask Mr. Gibson questions in regards to this matter concerning recusal? Mr. County Attorney, do you have any questions, Mr. Gibson, on this matter?
No, ma'am.
Next step, Mr. Wickrama, is for us to look at this challenge in regard to another member of our board, Mr. Jerry Wallen. And if you're prepared to proceed with examination of this witness, you may do so.
May I approach and talk to Mr. Laws one moment? I just have one question of procedure.
Mr. Blake, do you need to be part of this discussion?
I have faith in both of those gentlemen. I need to be there if they will summon me.
I will repeat what I just asked. It's a question of procedure. In speaking to the State Board of Elections, in-house counsel, I was of the impression that we had to make a request for each individual board member after their voir dire to recuse themselves. And what I just asked Mr. Laws is, do I make the request now, or do I make the request at the conclusion of all the questioning, and then also make a request for the board to have a vote separate and apart for the purpose of appeal? That was the statement, that was the inquiry that I made, and it was purely procedural.
Chair would be interested as to the outcome of that discussion. Are we heading in the right direction, Mr. Law?
I told Mr. Wickrama if he wanted to ask Mr. Gibson at this point in time if he wanted to recuse himself, that it would be appropriate to do that at this time.
Okay.
Mr. Gibson, as a matter of technicality, I suppose, for the purpose of appeal, I would make a request that you recuse yourself based on the testimony that you have given. If you say yes, then I suppose it takes us into another proceeding. If you say no, then I continue for the purposes of Mr. Long.
Sir, with this statement, I can assure you you're going to receive a very harsh hearing.
Thank you.
And I think at this time, if you want to ask the board whether the board, any member of the board chooses to make a motion, you can do that at this time.
I would now make a request that the board as a whole consider the testimony given and ask the board to make a motion to remove Mr. Gibson as a matter of protocol based on the requirements that the North Carolina State Board of Elections would set forth in their procedures.
Members of the board, you have heard this request from Mr. Wickrama. Is there a member of the board that would like to make a motion in regards to Mr. Gibson being recused from this hearing? Chair has given adequate time and we do not hear any motion. So, Mr. Wickrama, you may proceed with Mr. Waller.
Thank you. Mr. Wallen, please state your name for the record.
Jerry Wallen.
I'll wait till it's done. Mr. Wallen, are you a resident of Madison County?
Yes.
And you have been a member of the Board of Elections how many years?
I think about 6.
What do you do in the community, sir?
I'm retired.
Do you serve on any other boards other than this board? Do you serve on any other government board other than this board?
Yes, Council on Aging, Madison County Council.
Do you know Mr. Ledford, sir?
Yes,
How long have you known him?
probably 20 years.
How would you describe your relationship with him?
As a friend.
You socialize with him?
No, not really.
Were you his former employee, sir?
What?
Were you his former employee?
Yes.
Where were you employed, sir?
Madison County Jail.
What type of contact would you have with Mr. Ledford on a daily basis?
He would, we would talk about every morning, about what happened, and what we thought was going to happen.
Do you ever go out to eat with him or socialize with him during work hours?
Oh, yes.
Do you have a Facebook page, sir?
Yes.
You have a posting on your Facebook page that supports Mr. Ledford, saying elect John Ledford for sheriff?
I did not.
Approach, please.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll show you what's marked as picture exhibit number 1. Show you what I marked as picture exhibit number 1. You recognize that, sir?
Is that something that I posted?
Yes, sir. Is that your Facebook page?
Yes.
Can you turn to the second page, sir? You see on the left side a picture of John Ledford, sir? What does it say, sir? Underneath?
Elect John Ledford.
Mr. Wallace, once we place the exhibit for the witness, how do we benefit the session? Right to the reporter. I have to introduce it, and then I'd like to introduce official exhibit number 1, having been identified by Mr. Wallen, and I've asked that it be presented into the record.
Is this something that I posted, or what?
That would be on your Facebook page. Yes, sir.
In regards to the request for this to be in evidence, I think we can allow that. I would ask at this moment, let the other board members look
Please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair. Okay, Mr. W.J. Wickrama, we will allow that to be in the record for this hearing.
I'd like to continue on with my questioning, if I may. Mr. Chairman?
Yes, you may.
Mr. Wallen, after Mr. Ledford became the chairman or the head of ALE, who became the sheriff after he left?
Buddy Harper.
And what did he do to your position in the jail?
He might have, I don't know,
Did he phase it out?
before I left.
Did you leave under Mr. Ledford? Did you leave under Mr. Ledford or Mr. Harlow?
Mr. Harper.
Did you resign or did he let you go?
I resigned.
What was the reason for your resignation, sir?
I just got tired of working for the sheriff's department.
Have you ever... May we have a moment?
Yes, you may. All right.
May I continue?
Proceed.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Have you been to any campaign activities for Mr. Ledford? Any political campaign activities?
No, sir, I'm not campaigning for John Ledford.
Have you asked anyone to vote for Mr. John Ledford?
No, sir.
Have you been to any events where John Ledford was a candidate where he spoke?
I have years past.
What about the past year?
I can't remember. I've not been to the last couple of events, Democratic events, but I'm trying to remember whether or not at our county convention last year, it was in April, I suspect. I think it was. I was there. About all Democrats was there.
Have you taken Mr. Ledford through your community to introduce him to people to gather support for him in any way?
No, sir.
In the past year, have you gone out to dinner with Mr. Ledford or lunch with Mr. Ledford at local restaurants?
Yes, sir.
Have you spoken well of him to the folks working who served you all, saying that he's a good man, needs to be elected?
No, sir. I probably said it's a good man, not ask someone to vote for it.
What social or personal activities do you and Mr. Ledford participate in together?
None.
Have you on occasion had social experiences with Mr. Ledford and his wife?
I don't remember being with John Ledford and his wife at any social event. I can't remember.
When was the last time you were in Hayward County?
Last week.
Did you see a CPA in Hayward County?
I sure did.
Okay. And did you have a discussion with her about Mr. Ledford?
Yes, she talked to me about Mr. Ledford.
Did you have a discussion with her about Mr. Ledford's residency?
No, not really. I didn't answer no questions. She wasn't doing all the talking. I did not say anything to her.
Did you make a comment to Ms. Schulhofer, who's the CPA you went to see, is that correct?
I did.
Did you make a comment to Ms. Schulhofer that P.O. Box is what's important?
I did not. She might have. Seemed like she asked me about P.O. Box.
Of John Ledford?
I think so. I didn't know. I thought we was going to listen to this and that.
Did she prepare your tax return, sir?
Oh, yes.
How long did she prepare your tax returns?
Several years. Very good, too.
Are you aware of the North Carolina statute that I spoke about earlier with Mr. Gibson, 163-39, limitations on political activities? Have you made any written or oral statements intended for general distribution or dissemination to the public at large, supporting or opposing the nomination or election of one or more clearly identified candidates for public office?
I have not.
Do you have any bias towards Buddy Harwood after Sheriff Buddy Harwood after resigning from his office?
I do not.
Do you believe that you can be fair and impartial?
I do.
I have no further questions for this witness. Board member.
Mr. Gibson, I'll answer to the reporter.
Yes, sir, I did have one question.
We have a question here.
Yes, sir, maybe I missed it this summer. Can you point out or highlight for me where there's a public statement on here in support or opposition to an item back in it?
Second page, side left.
Give me the profile picture.
Yes.
Okay.
And if I may, sir, since you addressed that, if I may ask one question, is there a posting of Sheriff Harwood
No, sir.
on that
Oh,
page?
you will, sir.
I was asking you, sir. Yes. Is there a picture of Sheriff Harwood on that?
No, unless that's him on that horse.
So, humor aside, the only sheriff candidate you have on your Facebook page is Mr. Ledford, correct? No further questions.
Mr. Lee, you have a question for Ms. Wall.
Briefly, thank you, Mr. Snyder. Mr. Wall, I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Mr. Gibson. Opposing counsel is asking some questions that might cause you to feel like he's implying that your integrity is questioned. Sometimes the natural reaction of the individual is, oh my goodness, I've got to be real careful and lean that way if somebody's going to attack me. Now, you're going to have any feeling like that, and you're going to be able to call this straight down the middle, as you see it.
Straight down the middle.
Just based upon what you hear here in this courtroom.
Yes, sir.
Now, I don't know many people that have been around John Ledford for long or much, who at some point have not gotten mad at him about something. You know, think that's probably true of you. You had any experiences with him that would take your view of him in any form, shape, or fashion?
No, sir.
Now, you and I are the same political party.
That's right.
I have to question your ability to count a little. You said almost every Democrat was at the county convention, but my count was only about 200 there. So if that's all we got, we ought to. Now, you and I have not always supported the same candidates.
That's true, very true.
Anything about that that would rub off on Mr. Ledford in a negative fashion?
Sir.
Now, two areas of the examination and testimony I'm a little perplexed by, and I'll go to the one I understand the most first. Do you have an account located in Haywood County?
Yes.
And I think I've spoken to that lady. In fact, I think I've subpoenaed that lady. And her name is?
Norma.
Last name?
I do not know.
We go with the one that said Schulhoff.
Schulhoffer.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
I spoke to her in connection with letting her know I was going to subpoena her to be here today. And was aware at the time that I was inconveniencing her because she reported to me that her husband had had a stroke. And it was difficult for her to be here. But if I made her come, she'd come. I think she's here, and to her I apologize for having to make her come, or feeling I had to make her come. Is that how this conversation, did she mention something about being subpoenaed to here in Madison County?
Yeah, that's all she does. She just told me she is subpoenaed in Madison County.
And did she tell you she was Larry Lee for it, or did she express frustration about it?
Well, yeah, I can tell she did like the idea of having to drive over here. Have her husband see.
And we all understand that.
And we understand that it's decent time for taxes, I suspect.
Now, the second thing I understand a whole lot less than that, and that's this entity called Facebook. Where is that?
Mr. Lee, if I may, did you say Ms. Schulhoff is here?
Ms. Schuhofer?
You are here.
Yes. And thank you for being here, ma'am, and I again apologize for making you and hope to figure out a way to expedite you out of here. So thank you for being here, and we appreciate it. Now, Sheriff, do you have anything to do with Carhart, whatever that is, C-A-R-H-A-R-T-T? Are you a spokesman for Carhart?
No.
Are you a spokesman for Sandy Bottom and Clever Ride?
And not.
Are you a spokesman for Vero Novelty?
Don't know what it is.
Are you a spokesman for Madison Has Heart?
I am not.
Are you a spokesman for High Tech Radio?
I am not.
Are you a spokesman for the Rose Familia? Got any idea what that is?
Don't know what it is.
Are you a spokesperson for Progress NC Action?
No.
Did you place on this page the statement that you grew up in Madison County that you remember 2,372 members, just a group for all of us Tea Packet are now friends. From the Facebook page. Did you know that sportpeople.com is the world's largest free online weight loss and healthy living community? It even appears under what appears to be statements made by you. Did you put that there?
No, sir.
And I believe that this particular page that has stuff on it, those stuffs which have dates appear to be the dates of, must not be on Facebook a whole lot though.
No, sir, I've never posted nothing on Facebook.
Because the comments appear to be from the time period of March 25, July 9, 2012. It'll be about 9 months, and don't know how to write this to you, Mr. Wall, but all your friends are on Facebook talking to you, and you ain't got no friends.
I don't do Facebook because of it.
There's 4 seconds to you in that 9-month period. So you didn't put anything about John Lester next to your Facebook page.
No.
Are you through, Mr. Lee?
Not yet,
Okay.
but I'm getting close. I am now, sir. Thank you. I always knew you could read my mind.
I'm a redirect.
We certainly may have to redirect, and I have questions of my own, but you get to go first.
Sir, is it your testimony that you don't have a Facebook, or you don't
No,
know?
I've got Facebook.
Are you aware that in September of 2013, the Fourth Circuit, the United States Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals in Richmond, Virginia, in a case involving sheriffs, stated that liking something on Facebook is a form of speech protected by the First Amendment? A federal court ruled Wednesday reviving a closely watched case over the extent to which constitutional shields apply to what we do online. The court stated,
Mr. Chairman, I would suggest, if this is the question.
it is a question, if I may.
It is
Mr.
not.
Lee, let's let the attorney finish, and then we'll debate.
Liking the campaign page was the internet equivalent of displaying a political sign in one's front yard. Now, that's what the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals stated, and I believe when this gets to the North Carolina Board of Elections, they can take notice of any case law, both in the state and federal court systems, in reviewing conduct of board members. Now, while Mr. Lee got a few chuckles out of this, I have a very serious question. You stated that you do have a Facebook page, is that correct?
I did.
Okay. Is John Ledford's like Facebook comment on your Facebook page pursuant to Petitioner's Exhibit 1, which I presented to you? It's a yes or no question, sir.
One more time, I said question.
You do Facebook, correct?
Yes.
Okay. We got a little chuckle, a little humor earlier. My question is, on Petitioner's Exhibit number 1, on your Facebook page, is there a like sign for John Litt?
That's what it looks like. You asked me if I posted anything on Facebook.
I'm asking you if it's on your Facebook.
It looks like it's on.
Okay. So according to the law of the land that
Can
applies,
I just object now?
You certainly may.
You know, Mr. Wallen may be many things, number one, he is not an expert in the law, and I happen to differ with council's assertions as to the law.
Do you have
And
law to
this is
present?
neither the
Speaking
time-
over me is not, it is a time, sir, to
Gentlemen,
present.
gentlemen, gentlemen,
Said,
we will
Yes,
not.
it was me who was objecting at that time.
I'm well aware, sir.
Mr. Lee.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mr. Lama, both of you sit down. I'm telling you, I don't like being here, and I don't like doing what we just did. Mr. Laws assured me that there will be no yelling and screaming in this courtroom because everyone's professional. I have seen all I want to hear. I am wearing the chairman's hat at this time. Both of you will be civil. We will give everybody an opportunity to address this board.
Is it my time?
I don't know. I have questions about this myself. I'm going to go back to Mr. Weeday with Ron. You quoted a court case from what court?
The Fourth Circuit, United States Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals in Richmond, Virginia, which covers the state of North Carolina,
Thank you.
in September of last year.
This law, when you approach this board, this law, the rest of you will have to wonder what we're talking about.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Just a second. We knew we would get to some place where we're going to have to put a thinking cap on, and Mr. Laws has told us here, the three board members, that what you need to do is ask questions. Yes and no questions are good. Quoting the law is beyond our scope. It's probably there. You, Mr. Lee, Mr. Laws, know those ins and outs, and you don't. You have established yes or no questions with this gentleman, and we're going to give Mr. Lee a chance to object, then we'll do one more redirect, and then we'll move from there to questions from the members of the board. Okay?
Yes.
Mr. Lee.
You have very appropriately handled my objection. Now, I might have one more question, just so I can be clear on the
Yes.
technical issue, if I might.
You may.
Mr. Wallen, factually, I know nothing about Facebook. Okay? Did you take any act, to your knowledge, that caused that image to appear on that Facebook page?
No, sir. Not anybody.
That's my question.
Mr. Weeday, what's wrong?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, the case cited is Carter versus Roberts out of the Fourth Circuit. I owe Mr. Leek an apology, and I owe the court apology for losing my temper.
What's part of the citation, sir?
It's Carter versus Roberts. I can get you the official citation. It's Fourth Circuit from 2013. I do have a question for the court on procedure, if I may. Mr. Laws, if we're questioning this witness, we're questioning this member, and there's a witness I have to put towards the testimony of this member, do I wait until the case in chief to do it under the Board of Election procedure, or prior to asking him the final questions of refusal for the board, may I call that witness now?
I believe you're entitled to present your evidence on the motion to proceed.
I'm sorry, can you please speak up?
I believe he's entitled and the parties are entitled to present whatever evidence they wish to present on the motion to accuse.
time, sir, I would like to call Ms. Sheehan.
If you don't mind, I have a.
That's what I just.
We're not through here with this Facebook
Are
thing.
you finished with this witness?
That's, what I'm asking, Mr. Laws, is I am finished with this witness, but I'm not finished with my evidence for the accuser.
I understand.
Right.
So if you're finished with this witness, I think we need to look from you finished with this witness?
Is he going to recall the witness and re-examine the witness?
I think if he does recall the witness, he'll be entitled to question the witness. I would think if the board has any questions of this witness now.
Thank you. This is not as easy as it looks up here. I have a question that I need to ask, and I do not know who to ask it of. So I'll ask it of all the attorneys present, since y'all are experts at this, and I'll start with you, since you're representing this board. This paper that has been presented as evidence is a copy of a Facebook page. Mr. Leek and I date ourselves when we say we're not really experts on Facebook. But that is accurate. Is that correct? This actually came off of the internet. It belongs to Mr. Wallen. He had to establish this account. It is his and his alone.
Correct.
Is this available to any member of the public? And that's germane to me. Can anyone in this courtroom that wants to see that page go home, get on the internet, find Facebook, and find that page with Ms. Leffler's picture there saying vote for John Leffler?
Yes, sir.
You say it can happen.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Attorney, help me here.
I do not know the answer to that question.
Mr. Leek, do you have any idea?
I'm only going to tell you my impression and say that London Council was not qualified, or it's not a witness, it may be eminently qualified. No. To say factual stuff. My understanding of Facebook is that you have to send a request to a person saying, I want to be your friend. The person has to say yes, and then you get access. But that's my understanding yet to be.
I wish we had a 13-year-old girl here. Because it's common for them to have questions.
I would agree with Mr. Leek, sir. I would agree with everything he's just said.
So I now will hold myself out as qualified.
I mean,
I thank you all for your opinions. I don't have one at this point in time. We'll proceed. Mr. Weejay, with Romney, you wait just a moment. I'm out of step here. Other board members, do you have something you'd like to comment or ask? Mr. Wallen?
I'm going to insert myself on the security measures on Facebook if you want that, and if you want to.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I do believe, sharing the same level of experience with Mr. Lee, there are public and private parts of Facebook. And public parts, for example, my law firm, anyone can go on. I don't have to like or dislike them. They can go on and see my public part. I may have pictures of my family that are private, where you would have to make the request to get into the private section to see my family and our family activities. So there are two different levels of Facebook.
I appreciate that, Council. And we will, we were about to call another witness. You may do so.
Yes, sir, if I may, before we move forward, I don't know if this is the
council will be questioning Ms. Schulhofer.
Members of the board, my name is Ben Syed of the Haywood County Bar, and I was asked again if Ms. Schulhofer is in attendance today. Ms. Schulhofer, I'd like to call Ms. Schulhofer to give her testimony at this time, please.
Ms. Schulhofer, if you'll make your way down front here, I want to ask the law firm that's representing this board to make some arrangements for her to sit down and be able to address this board. I guess right up here at this place.
And Mr. Chair, I would note for the general public, if you recall, this is where we stand as, please be careful, there's some boards right here. We have to take down as best as possible. I know there's some older folks in attendance, and I just want to make sure that we're very careful.
Okay, she needs to be sworn. And we're going to maintain our dignity and decorum here.
Yes, sir.
You may go.
Ms. Schulhofer, my name is Ben Syed. I'd like to first ask to make sure that I can be heard well. Can everyone hear the sound of my voice? All right. Ms. Schulhofer, would you please state your name for the record, please?
My name is Norma Schulhofer. That's SBHULHOFER.